So, we've all heard of the classic American play, A Raisin in the Sun, right? But what you might not know is that there's a gripping, real-life story that fueled every single line.
The whole play really hangs on this one incredibly powerful question from the poet Langston Hughes. What happens to a dream deferred? It's a question that just sets the entire stage for a story about hope, about struggle, and about that deep desire to grab a piece of the American dream.
And at the very heart of that story, we have the Younger family. On stage, we watch them wrestle with what to do with this life-changing insurance check, with every single family member's dream just hanging in the balance.
But here's the kicker. The tension, that conflict, the fight for a home, none of that was just made up for the stage. The real story, the one the playwright actually lived through, it was, believe it or not, even more intense.
Okay, so to really get the play, you have to get the remarkable woman who wrote it, Lorraine Hansberry.
This is her, Lorraine Hansberry, an absolute trailblazer who, back in 1959, just smashed this massive barrier. She became the very first Black woman to have a play produced on Broadway.
So where did all that genius come from? Well, it came from a really deep personal place. A Raisin in the Sun wasn't just some story she dreamed up. In a very real sense, it was the story of her own childhood. It was a story she survived.
So, let's go back to the 1930s. Her father, Carl Hansberry, was a successful real estate developer, and he moved his family into an all-white neighborhood in Chicago. Now, this was a deliberate act of defiance against something called a racially restrictive covenant. Basically, these were legal agreements designed to keep Black families out of certain neighborhoods. As you can imagine, they faced constant threats, but her father, he fought back. He took their case all the way to the Supreme Court, and he won.
So how does an intense, personal battle like that get transformed into one of the greatest American plays ever written?
Well, this is where you can see the lines connect perfectly. The Hansberry's real-life legal battle, that becomes the Younger family's struggle to move into the fictional Clybourne Park. That hellishly hostile neighborhood she talked about, well, that becomes the pressure from characters like Carl Lindner, the guy sent to try and buy them out so they won't move in. It's art imitating a very, very harsh reality.
And let me be clear, the danger was absolutely real. Hansberry would later talk about how, when she was just a kid, a brick came flying through their window and nearly killed her. She had this vivid memory of her own mother patrolling their house at night with a loaded German Luger, standing guard to protect her kids from violent mobs. I mean, that's the kind of tension that's just simmering under the surface of every scene in the play.
So Hansberry took all of that real-life trauma and funneled it right into the play's main conflict. It all revolves around the Younger family getting a $10,000 insurance check after the father dies. And that money, it's everything. It's their one and only hope for finally making those deferred dreams reality.
And of course, every character has a different idea for that money. You've got Mama, Lena, who wants exactly what the Hansberrys fought for, a real home with a little garden. Then there's her son, Walter Lee, who's dreaming big about owning his own business. And his sister, Benitha, who is a lot like Hansberry herself, she wants to go against the grain and become a doctor, which was a pretty radical idea for a Black woman back then.
And boom, there it is. We're right back to that central question. Is this money going to be the thing that finally lets their dreams flourish? Or are all the pressures from inside the family and outside going to make those dreams just dry up like a raisin in the sun?
So you can imagine when this play finally hit the stage, its impact was, well, it was immediate and it was absolutely revolutionary.
Think about the year 1959. The civil rights movement is really starting to build steam. America is on the verge of some massive, massive changes. And this play just lands right in the thick of it all.
And it was a historic first. For the first time ever, a play by a Black woman was on Broadway. It put a complex, dignified, completely unapologetic Black family right in the spotlight, something Broadway had never seen before.
And listen, this wasn't just some historical footnote. The play was a critical masterpiece. It actually won the prestigious New York Drama Critics Circle Award. And get this, it beat out plays by giants like Tennessee Williams and Eugene O'Neill. What a feat for any playwright, let alone a newcomer.
So you have to wonder, right? Why did a story about one specific family on the south side of Chicago connect with so many people all over the world? Well, Hansberry herself explained it best. She said, in order to create the universal, you must pay very close attention to the specific. By getting the details of the Younger family's life so right, she touched on something everyone understands: family, dignity, and that universal desire for a better life.
And the proof of that universal appeal?
It's just undeniable. The play has been translated into over 30 languages. It's been performed in cultures all over the globe, from China to the former Czechoslovakia. I mean, its message really went global.
But for all this incredible success, Hansberry's story, well, it was tragically short-lived. Her play, though, has lived on and on. It was adapted into a Tony Award-winning musical called Raisin. There have been so many star-studded revivals on Broadway, tons of film versions. Each time, it introduces this powerful story to a whole new generation.
But just 6 years after that huge Broadway debut, Lorraine Hansberry died of pancreatic cancer. She was only 34, just 34 years old. An absolutely brilliant voice in American theater, gone way, way too soon.
And yet her legacy is just immeasurable. She's seen as the foremother of modern African-American drama. Her unfinished writings actually inspired that iconic Nina Simone anthem, "To be young, gifted, and black." And of course, her masterpiece continues to challenge all of us with its timeless questions about life and dreams.
And that brings us full circle, right back to the beginning. This play, which was born from a real family's fight for a home, it forces us to ask the question again. Not just about what happened to the younger family's dreams, but what about the dreams that are still being deferred for so many people, right now, today?